So here's a fun find for you, no pun intended. We're looking at a Sony DVP-CX875P. This is one of those big boy carousel type players that fits up to 300 discs. And if you've noticed yet, it has markings for DVD, meaning that this player can run both music discs and DVDs, which is extremely handy and practical. These were originally released in 2006, back before streaming became the norm for people. And being able to hold up to 300 discs, I think, makes it able to take care of most people's collections. Doing a little bit of research online, I found that these retailed for around $500 at the time of release. That seems pretty fair considering all of its functions, the technology it employed as far as the controls goes, and just in general everything it brings to the table. At present time, resale value is going to be anywhere between 110, 120, all the way to 200 based on condition and if you have the remote. Here I'm loading some discs as part of the testing to make sure that the internal components are detecting which slots have discs in them. One cool feature that these Sony Carousel players tend to have is that once you close that door, it'll spin the carousel around to detect what slots have discs, and then when you go to your CD select, it will skip all the empty slots so that you can reach the disc number that you're trying to get to faster. Next up, let's have a quick little look at the inside. Here you can see the carousel and all the slots for whatever movies or music CDs you want to put in there. Over here is our board that connects to our outputs. This unit has regular composite out, S-video, and component, which is pretty cool. Over on this back left corner is your power board. So that's where your mains or your 120, 110 comes into your unit and then gets sent out to the rest of your player. Generally, these types of players tend to have a lot of empty space, as you can tell here, just because they need to allow for all those discs to fit in there, and the electronics are usually pushed to the corners. So now let's have a look at the unit running. We're hooked up via composite, aka RCA. Here we see that the unit is also capable of outputting audio in coaxial and optical. We'll give those a try after we confirm that the composite works fine. So let's go and press play, starting with a music CD, and see what we get. So our laser is good and we are reading disc. You can see that I'm actually missing a knob here for the disc select and the track select. So we're going to do a little bit of research and then just 3D print a replacement one. And of course, I'll put that in the description when we list it for sale. Of course, this being a Sony device, you're going to get a whole bunch of fancy options and features. You can see we have 2 additional doors at the bottom of the unit. This is where you tell it what your discs are and you pre-program, and on the right side you have all the functions that you would see on your typical remote controller. So that's a very basic overview of the functions that this player has. Next, I'm going to make sure that the DVD reader works. I'm going to throw in a copy of the Jungle Book. Let's see if everything is working fine for this player. I did speed up this part because this particular movie happens to take a long time to load. I really need to use a different one for when testing DVD players, but there you go. And now that we're inside the DVD, the right controller behaves the same as your remote controller does. You can press left, right, the center button presses enter, and the wheel will fast forward or rewind when you're actually inside the movie. That's also very cool because it's very intuitive. Can't let the footage play too much, otherwise Disney gets upset. But anyway, that's your Sony DVP-CX875P. I recommend that you pick one up if you happen to come across it, especially in today's age where physical media is starting to make a bit of a return because people are not too happy with how streaming services are working. Anyway, have fun out there hunting for cool stuff, and remember to follow if you want to see more here.